Because they ask me, what's the 3 most important issues in the Congress? I always say the same thing. Our children, our children, our children. You had a question?
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be the next president? Is it going to be Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, or John McCain?
Well, I think the next president is going to be a Democrat, because I think it's time for a change. And I think that either Senator Clinton or Senator Obama would be a president for change for the future.
If they were going to change the price of gasoline or oil, what would that be?
Well, we'd like it to come down.
Yeah.
And that's what we're striving for the price of gasoline to come down. When President Bush took office, the price of gasoline was 1/3 of what it is now. So it has tripled since he became president. We'd like to get it back to that place.
What would you do to improve Medicaid if the moratorium that the House approved yesterday remained law?
Well, we need that to become law. And what was interesting about what happened yesterday was Democrats and Republicans came together overwhelmingly and said, providing health care for poorer people in our country is important to us. And so they voted overwhelmingly in favor of the changing the regulations. And so we're hoping now that that will pass in the Senate and the president will sign it. He's not quite ready to do that yet, but we're hoping, because you asked, that he might be more inclined to do so. But thank you for your very informed and current question, as they all are.
What can you do to help the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, since the Senate has failed to act?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. It's a very important one. This is a question about, let me ask you this question. If the two of you, if a boy and a girl here did the same job, don't you think they should get the same pay? Yes. See? The future. The future. So does the House, but apparently some in the Senate do not. And they have held up the legislation. I think the president has threatened to veto the bill as well. But we're going to persist, because this is very, very important. It shouldn't be a situation that women would have get less pay simply because they're women. Hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? Hello. Welcome. You got a question? Just in it for the candy? But it is, thank you for asking that question, because you can be sure of one thing. We will continue to work hard to pass that legislation, because it's just not right that women should be paid less than men for the same job.
How did it feel to meet the Pope?
How did it feel to meet the Pope? It was wonderful. It was just wonderful. I was so thrilled. I was telling President Bush yesterday that I thanked him for making it possible for so many of us to see the Pope at the White House, and then I was telling him about the Mass at the stadium that I went to the next day at National Stadium, and it was thrilling. When I was about a young girl, I went with my family to meet the Pope at that time in Rome, and that was thrilling. But it was just my family meeting the Pope. It was very thrilling. And then when I became a congresswoman, I welcomed Pope John Paul to San Francisco when he came there, and that was thrilling. And at that time, I received Holy Communion from Pope John Paul, which is something that I treasure for my whole life. And then this past week, to meet Pope Benedict XVI was quite thrilling. Our country is based on freedom. You know, we take great pride in the freedom of our country. And if it was just one freedom, if we had just one freedom that would protect all the other freedoms, it would be freedom of the press. That would be the best safeguard for our country. Of course, we want all of our freedoms, but as long as we have freedom of the press, all of our other freedoms are safe.